entire Straits of Malacca in terms of defense?
Actually, in terms of Japan, Japan has a lot of constraints in terms of exercising its military in terms of because it's a self-defense force. It is not a military. So in terms of that, Japan has actually developed a lot of other mechanisms. It has a very strong dependence, as I said, on the Straits of Malacca. So one of the initiatives was the establishment of the International Maritime Organization, which was one of Japan's initiatives. And it also has established other mechanisms such as the...
It was the US slave. IMO was US slave, IMSI was US slave, PSI was US slave. All these were US slave. Japan, yeah.
A lot of, in terms of the funding also came from Japan, because of its large dependence on...
This is how US does. No? US wants to get all the things funded by Japan. And they lead everything. That is their art.
And just adding on to that, in one of our earlier discussions, I think it was mentioned that India, China, and Japan have this yearly sort of a patrolling of the Indian Ocean and the South China Sea area, something like that. I remember vaguely. So, how can ASEAN countries like Indonesia, Singapore, etc., play a role in that? And as long as Singapore is deeply, is closely associated with US, will they ever allow sort of a partnership in that sort of particular?
Actually, the cooperation which you are referring on India, China, and Japan is in the Indian Ocean in terms of the Horn of Africa. They have they coordinate their patrolling, and each country takes turns to patrol the Horn of Africa. But in terms of the Malacca Straits, I'd say that it also largely depends on the two other larger countries of Southeast Asia in that region, especially Indonesia, which has a lot of clout in terms of what it can push for to happen in the region. One of the examples was, as I said, that it was the one which facilitated the agreement between, issued a joint statement after Cambodia could not. It was actually the whole diplomatic work was done by Indonesia. So, in terms of Singapore, they can only try and put across an idea that the US would do a good job. But that's what they tried to do in 2004, and when the US suggested that we would patrol the Malacca Straits, but there was strong opposition from the other two countries. So in the end, they ended up having a trilateral coordinating patrol in the Straits. So
any action, any initiative taken by the United States in the Straits of Malacca has always been opposed by Malaysia and Indonesia. It only gets support from Singapore in a very limited way.
So, but my question there is, considering, as he said, that India has, through its non-aggressive posturing, has enjoyed, closer defense ties with ASEAN than, say, China or US. In that context, can India come in and maybe be a partner in this patrolling of the Straits?
Actually, India had requested in 2004, but Indonesia declined.
But India really has more clout than the US as far as Straits of Malacca is concerned. And Indonesia and Malaysia, obviously they support, not overtly but covertly, India's initiative.
Actually also...
They have a lot of energy from the US initiatives, but by and large they support overtly many of India's initiatives. And if you see a lot of regional maritime security initiatives, this proliferation security initiative, all these proposals which US had brought, everything was turned down by Malaysia and Indonesia. Only some support had come from Singapore.
Right.
There is a recap. Yeah, that's from Japan. But in terms of military things, we have a history that Japan invaded that area. So those countries hate to enter Japanese forces. So that's yes.
Any other? Actually, one of the other points could also be because the US does not think much about the law of sea because it has not ratified the convention, so it does not take it into account. So, in terms of that,
UNCLOS, what about UNCLOS?
Okay, thank you, Vignesh. This session on China going